where does that take us? Debbie, you were talking about water earlier on today, but over the last number of weeks, you've been talking about desalination. So what's the latest on this?
Well, yes, water, all change. And again, sustainable, unsustainable, you choose. Do you know what is coming out of your tap? I have asked so many people that question, and nobody as yet can give me an answer apart from people saying fluoride, heavy metals, lithium, question mark. So what is planned? What is in plain sight? And what is going on in our water industry? Because it is all change. And if you live near the coast, you'll be particularly interested in this. But already we know from the Financial Times that Labour are planning a new regulator. Well, off what, do what is what I say. They want to combine Ofwat, the EA, Environment Agency, and the Drinking Water Inspector. I don't see any inclusion of Consumer Council for Water, but hey, what do I know? So we're getting a new regulator, and we all know what we think of regulators. But everybody is interested in desalination. You might not have heard anyone else reporting about this, but as we'll come to see, it's a big agenda. Let's listen to what Elon Musk has got to say.
Look, I'm not suggesting complacency. We do want to move to a sustainable energy economy as quickly as possible, but we're not in any danger of resource collapse.
But lots of people don't have enough food or water. Water, we will run out of water. They're running out of sand.
No, Earth is 70% water by surface area.
But you can't drink that.
But desalination is absurdly cheap.
Why don't we do it then?
We do it. It is done.
You have a lot of free time.
It is done.
Cheap, is it, Elon? Well, we'll come to see. And I would just like to say that Cornwall, where I live, is not water poor. We have so much water, we don't know what to do with it. But what is desalination? So here's a little diagram to show you what desalination is. Basically, it's removing the salt from seawater to turn it into drinking water. Or is it? Because it's a big industry. As we'll come to see, Grandview Research have valued the global water desalination equipment market at a staggering $15.5 billion, and that was in 2022. But who else is involved in this agenda? Well, this is really the tip of the iceberg. So let's go through them really quickly. So we've got the WEF desalination. We've got the World Bank desalination. We've got the United States Geological Survey, desalination. We've got the World Health Organization, desalination. We've even got Chatham House, desalination. So this is a massively big business. Now, I found an article from Waterless called Good, Troublesome, and the Future. And it seems to be that what they're saying as you go deeper into the article is that the pros, they're looking at Israel as having the most advanced technology, and they have 20% more water than it needs. And you might remember Vanessa's comments on Wednesday with regards to where Israel get their water. I'll leave Vanessa to comment more on that. But the cons are that it's very energy consuming. You need electricity, petroleum or natural gas to power them. They're costly to operate and construct. You need miles of power lines for remote areas, and effluent brine is harmful for waterways. But they want solar and wind and geothermal, of course, to power them. There's also even an international desalination and reuse association, and they're called the IDRA. They were founded in 1973. They're recognized by the United Nations, and they've got a conference coming up, or a congress coming up in Abu Dhabi in December. So again, this is a massive agenda. But what's happening in the UK? What do the UK say about desalination? Well, the government are very keen in desalination, and they say that between 2025 and 2050, we're going to need 3.4 billion more additional litres a day. So they're going to be developing new reservoirs and desalination. But then I went to look at the Financial Times, who have just brought out an article on the wave of innovation which aims to make desalination sustainable. Now, they say that already South West Water, which is my water company, have a desalination plant in the Isles of Scilly. Thames Water also have one, but because of the energy needed to generate, they don't use it anymore. It's not operating. So then let's look at the national framework from the Environment Agency, because they've got a lot to do with water preservation and drought. And they say that the southeast are pretty much desperate for water. And because the West Country has plenty of water, why don't we just move it from the southwest to the southeast? I'll let you read that document in full, but you'll see there that it involves moving, as does the next slide, where you can see a map of England, and you can see the bottom box is the West Country, and we have only moderate pressure on our water resources. So therefore, it makes sense to potentially transfer to other areas, which is very expensive. But I believe there are other reasons as well, darker reasons, and I'm going to explore those now, because South West Water say that their reservoirs are nearly full. So this is really good news. However, we have been appointed a drought director, and the drought director's name is David Harris, and he's very pleased that February was the wettest on record. The BBC are reporting that Cornwall will provide desalination, will provide a third of the county's water. But there is a lot of resistance. And I joined the protest group one day on the beach. And the protest group, we were waiting for Fergal Sharkey, but shame on him. He didn't turn up. We all got blown to bits, but he didn't turn up. But they're very concerned, obviously, with the desalination effects in our area and sewage. So what does South West Water say? Why do we need desalination? Well, apparently, most of our water comes from rivers and reservoirs. And our reservoirs have plenty of water, but then they say they're empty. But where's the water going? Tourism, climate change is what they're saying. Well, I've got other ideas as to where the water might go. So in my area, we have been told that we are going to be the first desalination plant. That's really appropriate because obviously it pricked my interest and I wanted to know what effect this would have on the local community. And I got an invite. I got an invite to the public consultation. And here's a copy of the letter. And it told me that I was going to see specialist project team to bring my questions. And this is David Harris. He's an Australian and he is the drought resilience director. So I was really looking forward to seeing him. Now, what I am going to say very quickly, and I'm going to read off my little list here, because when I went to the meeting, I had to register to go to the meeting. I wanted to see David Harris, but apparently David Harris was on annual leave because he's been very busy managing the cryptosporidium incident and he's very tired. So sadly, he couldn't be at the consultation. There wasn't really anybody in charge at the consultation. We are the second wettest county in England, so I struggle to see why we're in drought, and I think it's probably all a bit of a lie. And I went to the meeting, but nobody from South West Water had their name badges on. And when I asked them their names, they refused to give me their name or their position. And the questions that I wanted to ask, I was told I couldn't. Now, just a few quotes from the meeting. When I asked a name, I was told no, I wasn't going to be given a name because he got unpleasant emails sent to his email address afterwards. He wasn't happy to give me his surname because of traffic. And when I asked him about British Lithium, which I'll come on to in a minute, he says he has nothing to do, South West Water have nothing to do with British Lithium, not part of the remit, no knowledge about it, can't answer any questions. When I asked if we were in a drought, I was told not today. And when I spoke to the press officer and asked him for an interview for UK Column, I was told that I wasn't allowed to film and that if the BBC had been there, it would be different. So I wanted to know the connection between Imeries and South West Water, because Imeries have land where the desalination plant is going to be placed. And here we can see Imeries are very hot on water treatment. But who are Imeries? Let's look back in history at who are Imeries, because believe it or not, Imeries started in 1880 by the Rothschilds, would you believe? Isn't it funny how that name keeps popping up? They combined a metals and mining company, and I don't know how to pronounce this, I do apologise, Penaroa, I think it's called, and it's of course now become Imeries. So I'm living in Par, and I went down to Imeries, to Par Docks, and I did a very short little video just to show you the close proximity of Imeries and South West Water and where they want to build the desalination plant. Let's have a quick look. And this is again Debbie Evans from UK Column. and I'm at Imery's docks. Big, just ripe for a desalination plant, Eco-Bob's boss, creating sustainable communities. And as we can see, if I swerve round, you can see that there is Southwest Water's pumping station right there, right next door to Imery's. How convenient. Oh, and the sewage treatment work, that's just underneath that bridge. I'm with you with the sewage treatment works, and there is an electricity substation right next to Southwest Water's pumping station, so it's in very close proximity. So then I was very interested to find that Imery's have partnered up with no other than British Lithium. Have a look at this little bit of video.
I really see only advantages in this partnership. We will need the support of the people, the authorities, local and regional.
Imery's is very important to the lithium industry of the UK. They have an unrivaled land position here. This is a massive undertaking that involves a wide range of risks of different types, but we believe between us we know how to overcome those risks and make this project a reality. But the great thing about lithium is the world understands the need for it and that it's a solution for pressing climate emergency. Governments around the world are united in bringing about electrification, renewable power, electric vehicles to reduce emissions. And we're lucky to have joined us today a number of senior civil servants from the UK government to hear the policies that they've put in place. They have brought about a critical minerals strategy and other funding initiatives to thank Her Majesty's government through these organs for the support they gave. When we found this deposit, there was no known means of extracting the lithium in an environmentally sustainable way. We had to develop such a thing.
And so that was just a little bit. And if you want to go and have a little look at more, and British Lithium CEO speaking, then please do. It's on YouTube. So lithium needs a lot of water. Here's just a screenshot just to tie up that little bit there of this huge partnership between British Lithium. But I've also been looking at academic papers because lithium needs a lot of water. And here we go, lithium recovery from brine, seawater desalination concentrate. So who is this desalination plant for? And where is our water going to? Are Southwest Water, Imery's, British Lithium, and someone else, which we'll come to in a minute, Veolia, are they all stealing our water? Because Southwest Water have announced that they're joining forces with Veolia, and Veolia are a huge French company. And let's see what Veolia are into. And interesting to see that Veolia also support the lithium industry. So this is all tying up very nicely, isn't it? Because we have plenty of water down here, but they don't seem to think that we do. And what I want to know is how much water is going from our resources to British Lithium, and also the contamination. You know, what kind of leakage are we going to get? Because lithium is actually very dangerous, and it is, they're talking about adding it to water to prevent suicide. And many people may know that if you have bipolar, manic depression, many people are medicated by lithium, and it's very dangerous. So a drought, we're in a drought. And ironically, 1 hour after being pretty much kicked out of the meeting, I flooded, and those are my feet just to show you the depth of the water. That's my road, and I've got a very short video just to illustrate what we go through, and I'll talk you through it. So this is a flood of my road. This took 3 minutes of heavy rain, monsoon rain. The reason I'm standing in the middle of the road is I am trying to stop the traffic from going through, because every time the traffic goes through, they create a huge bow wave. That's my hand. You'll see me waving. No, don't please come through. Because every time a car comes through, it creates a massive bow wave that floods our homes even more than they're already flooded. There are also open manholes underneath that water that is dangerous for cars. This is sewage water. I'm trying to protect our homes. I'd like to say to all the motorists that abused me, shouted at me, threatened me, stuck their fingers at me, and tried to run me over, I'm trying to protect you, but I'm also trying to protect our homes. So are we in a drought? Is desalination a scam? Is it for real? you decide, but there'll be plenty more on desalination in the future.
Debbie, thank you very much for that.